Hello everyone, welcome back to Let It Cook Cooking channel. Today there's something for the vegetarians. Stuffed spinach pancakes, bright green, excellent in taste and really delicious. For this we need salt, pepper, aged balsamic vinegar, olive oil, finely chopped garlic, finely chopped onion. That was the sugar. Here is the salt. Burrata, that's 500 grams of spinach, briefly blanched and chopped. Ricotta, parmesan, and a bit of mountain cheese, grated tomato sauce, and baked pancakes. I've already preheated the oven. You're probably wondering where the green pancakes come from. Here they are. And last week I already shared the recipe for them on their own, in case you want to fill them with something else. I thought I'd make 2 recipes out of it. Just check it out there. You need to prepare them a bit. The recipe is relatively elaborate, but of course it's also really great. Because when you finish cooking it and put the cheese on top, you can cover it with some foil, put it in the fridge, and just before the guests arrive, just pop it in the oven. And you'll have a really awesome vegetarian dish. And the vegetarian stuff doesn't really taste that good. That's why today we're making something with real flavor. What do you mean it doesn't taste that good? I was just out with some vegetarians in Vienna, and there in those restaurants, in those pubs and so on, there really weren't any tasty dishes for the veggies, so everyone just had to eat side dishes. That's why I thought, today we'll make something delicious for the veggies again. First, we pour a good splash of good olive oil into the pan. Don't be stingy, then add the onions. I've already prepared that a bit. I'm sure you all know how to cut an onion and chop garlic. We'll let that cook here now. This spinach you see here, I bought a big bag. It was 500 grams, those huge bags. I briefly boiled it in heavily salted water, then shocked it in cold water and chopped it. If you don't want to do that because you don't have time, or maybe you're a bit too lazy, you can also use chopped spinach from the freezer just fine. Yeah, of course it won't be quite as good because it still has the stems in it and it's a bit tough. So if you use fresh spinach, it's definitely better. You don't have to use baby spinach. I deliberately chose regular spinach. First of all, it colors the crepes much nicer, as you learned in the other video. And secondly, it also tastes a bit better than baby spinach. Once it's finely chopped, there's no real difference. This tomato sauce you just saw, I'll link it up here for you as well. Yes, I've already cooked it once before when we had really good quality tomatoes. But you can just as well use canned tomatoes. Yes, maybe with some herbs already in them or something, you can already buy those ready-made. Of course, it's even better, I'll tell you right away, if you make it with homemade tomato sauce because it naturally has a much better taste. Not everyone has that at home, so this is a great way to help yourselves. So, fry the onions really well, yeah, not just until they're translucent, but also a bit browned. Give the onions a bit of color, that way they get a special flavor. And the important thing with these kinds of things, whether you're making a filling for pasta with ricotta and spinach, or if you're making this, in Italy they're called crespelle, here we call them pancakes, and when you use them for filling, they need to have flavor. Yeah, there's nothing worse than when it tastes bland inside, so make sure you season it well. Please don't add the garlic yet. If garlic gets too much heat, it turns bitter. That means we'll add it at the end. By the way, I just left out a little nolibra or vermouth in the list. Of course, it's included in the recipe below, so don't worry. So now we add the spinach. You can already see how little that is, even though it was such a huge bag. It was a whole pouch. Spinach just loses an incredible amount of water. I'll add the garlic right away, thank you. And another good splash of olive oil. A pinch of sugar, maybe a bit much, and a good pinch of salt in there. Don't be stingy here either because, as I said, the ricotta absorbs quite a lot of flavor, so you really need to add a good amount. Thank you. Take a look at all of this. I also forgot a bit of nutmeg, of course, that's listed below as well. Nutmeg always goes especially well with spinach. It just tastes really, really delicious. So don't skimp on that either. This is going to be a relatively large portion, so the spices really have to be there, and every single roll has to taste really good. Okay, now we can turn off the pan, okay, and then deglaze it. With the nolibra, Don't worry, even if kids are eating with you, the alcohol will completely cook off, so it's no problem at all. If you want to be absolutely sure, just use a bit of vegetable broth. But the Nulibra, or rather the vermouth, gives the spinach a really special flavor. Okay, now it's done. The pan has cooled down a bit. The pans are linked below if you want to get one like this. And now I'm adding the ricotta to it. You could also add some pine nuts or throw in a few walnuts, but unfortunately I don't have any left. I don't have any right now, but it works just as well without them. Of course, that's still really tasty, but pine nuts are always so expensive. Now we'll add a splash of aged aceto balsamico just to get a bit of acidity in there. Taste it once. That's better, but honestly, there's still not enough flavor in it. You really have to season it well. A little more pepper. The vermouth flavor stands out and the other flavors are present too. But as I've mentioned a few times, the salt just goes away quickly. The bell just rang outside, perfect. Press the bell below, then you'll get a notification when we've uploaded a new video. Of course, comment, like, and so on. Yeah, I don't think I need to tell you anymore, but it just helps us out. That's your job. Since you can use the content for free, it doesn't cost anything here on the internet. A little interaction, I think, isn't too much to ask. It's getting less and less. If it keeps going like this, maybe there won't be a Let It Cook cooking channel anymore at some point. So make sure you help us get back up a bit, because otherwise it just won't be worth it for us anymore. I think each of you has 2 seconds to spare and can sacrifice that. For these great recipes, first I'll put our excellent tomato sauce into the baking dish. Look how beautiful it is. Let me show you. Wonderful, nice shine, really chunky, well cooked down, very, very delicious. And now we're going to spread the mixture on the crepes. Or pancakes. I always say crepe. For me, there really isn't such a thing as pancakes. But these are a bit thicker now, and that's a good thing. Always leave a little space at the back of the pancake, because when you roll it up, it always gets pushed back a bit. The filling, then you really have it everywhere. Inside, fill it nicely, and now just roll it up from the back here and place it in the tomato sauce. I'll finish this quickly. You've seen one done, and filling the whole tray would be boring. I'll show you soon. Now the burrata goes on top. This is so funny. I used to always bring burrata from Italy because you couldn't get it anywhere here, and now you can find it at every discount store. Burrata has become popular in Germany, so it's no problem at all to get it now. And now we just tear it up and put it on top here. It makes a great crust, especially with the mountain cheese. I did half and half here, but you can do it your way. The Italians, of course, make it only with Parmesan or with Parmesan and Pecorino. But if you still have something in the fridge, guys, whatever tastes good is always allowed. I know the Italians are very, very strict when it comes to their dishes. You're not allowed to change anything. They're also the ones here on the channel who scold me the most. Whenever I add a splash of soy sauce to tomato sauce or something like that, I get scolded right away. But that's just how it is. Some things are a bit stricter, some are not quite as strict. This is really a great veggie dish. It's awesome to prepare ahead of time, and you really have something special, not just anything random. And now the grated cheese goes on top. Be generous, don't skimp. The more the better. So that looks wonderful, excellent. Now the whole thing goes into the oven. 180 degrees, I estimate about 30 minutes, I'll tell you later. until everything on top is nicely golden brown. And then we'll try it like that, my dears. 30 minutes later with 3 minutes of top grill setting. So at the end, I just used the convection with grill setting, you know, the fan with the top grill, so the cheese gets nice and crispy. Now take a look at this masterpiece. If that doesn't look fantastic, when you put this on the table, people will be amazed. I promise now we'll just add a bit of basil on top as decoration so I can get a nice photo. If you want, add some pepper on top now. And a bit of aged aceto, please, not that balsamic cream. Yeah, I would skip that, it's way too sweet. So if you want to put something like that on top, get yourself a good aged aceto and just add a few drops. And now, my dears, I'm sorry, I would love to let you try it because it smells amazing here in this kitchen and it's really incredibly delicious. It's not like I don't make this dish quite often. So take a look here. This is what the rolls look like inside, beautifully rolled up. Now I just have to be really careful again. This thing just came out of the oven. Before I can taste it for you, I have to blow on it a little. Okay. It's hot, but it's also really delicious. Honestly, I tried it a little too early. After serving, let it rest a few minutes so your guests don't burn their palates. A fantastic vegetarian dish. If veggie food always tasted like this, I could become a vegetarian too. So, my dears, cook it yourselves, like, comment, and so on. You already know. Most importantly, enjoy it. I'm sure you'll love it 100%. And we'll see each other again next week on Let It Cook Cooking Channel. Take care. Bye, ARD.